Nobody ever told you the complete truth about what really happens inside your body after eating. You have been following the same tired advice for years, and it has quietly been failing you. They told you to take a gentle walk after meals, and honestly, that advice sounds completely reasonable. But showing up to a 5-alarm fire with a garden hose is not a solution for anything serious. That walk feels like effort, looks like effort, but does almost nothing meaningful for your actual metabolism. What if the real story about managing blood sugar after meals was something entirely different and far more powerful? What if a single 60-second trick using only your body weight worked 3 full times better than any casual stroll? A trick that signals your body to send food directly into your muscles instead of quietly storing it as fat. Not in an hour from now. Not after a long, slow walk, but immediately after your very last bite. And what if a specific mineral water available at any grocery store could completely transform how your insulin works? No expensive supplements, no miserable restrictive diets, just a specific water you sip quietly and consistently throughout your day. Today, you are going to learn how to literally force glucose into your muscles completely on your own command. This is going to hand you back total control over your metabolism, your energy, and your body starting now. First, you will learn a post-meal movement trick dramatically more powerful than any casual stroll you have ever taken. Second, you will discover a mineral water strategy that makes your insulin release cleaner, faster, and far more precise. Third, you will uncover the one narrow time window when eating carbs almost guarantees muscle growth instead of fat storage. Stay until the very end, because that third strategy alone will completely dismantle everything you thought you knew about carbs. Now let us understand exactly what is happening deep inside your body every single time you eat carbohydrates today. The moment carbs enter your body, glucose begins flooding your bloodstream, and your blood sugar starts climbing steadily upward. Your pancreas immediately senses that rise happening and responds by releasing one of your body's most powerful hormones called insulin. Insulin travels through your entire bloodstream like a dedicated delivery driver searching urgently for muscle cells to drop glucose off. It works exactly like a key searching through a building trying to find the one specific lock it was made for. That lock is called GLUT4, and it sits built right into the surface wall of every single muscle cell you have. Insulin finds that lock, inserts the key, the door swings open wide, and glucose walks directly inside the muscle cell. When this entire system is working properly, your muscles absorb glucose and convert it into clean, usable energy almost immediately. Your blood sugar returns to a healthy, stable level, and you feel genuinely focused, steady, and energized for hours straight. That is exactly how this system was brilliantly designed to work, and for many people, it once worked that way perfectly. But here is precisely where everything starts going dangerously and silently wrong for millions of people dealing with insulin resistance. When your muscle cells become insulin resistant, those GLUT4 locks on the surface get rusty, stiff, and completely unresponsive over time. Your pancreas is still producing the insulin key, and your body is working extremely hard, trying desperately to use it. But no matter how many times that key shows up at the door, the lock simply will not turn anymore. So glucose has absolutely nowhere useful to go, and it just keeps floating dangerously around inside your bloodstream, doing nothing good. And floating glucose sitting aimlessly in your blood is not harmless at all. It is genuinely and quietly destructive to you. It triggers widespread inflammation throughout your entire body, the slow, invisible kind that quietly drives so many modern diseases people suffer. It also causes something called glycation, which is when sugar molecules physically stick to your proteins and begin destroying them internally. Think of glycation like rust slowly forming on metal, except the metal being destroyed is the living tissue inside your own body. Eventually, that excess glucose, which cannot enter the muscles, finds only one final destination remaining available to it inside your body. That destination is fat storage, and your liver handles the conversion through a process scientists call de novo lipogenesis deep inside cells. Floating useless glucose becomes brand new body fat, and that conversion happens quietly every single day without you ever feeling it happening. Your energy crashes hard after every meal, your cravings spike to uncomfortable levels, and your waistline continues slowly expanding over time. Most people experiencing this have absolutely no idea that blood sugar instability is the root cause driving every single one of those symptoms. This is exactly where your metabolism completely falls off the rails like a freight train, losing all control at full speed. But this is also precisely where something genuinely remarkable happens when you know the right tools to use for your body. Because your muscles have a secret back door built directly into them that almost nobody in mainstream health ever talks about. A hidden biological emergency override that completely bypasses insulin and pulls glucose directly into muscle cells entirely on its own terms. A remarkable review published in the journal Molecular Metabolism broke down exactly how this extraordinary biological backdoor works inside your living cells. When you contract your muscles with real, genuine intensity, you can force those GLUT4 doors wide open entirely on your own. No insulin needed, no rusty locks to fight against, no broken key that may not even work properly for you anymore. Your muscles take the entire situation into their own hands and pull glucose directly from your bloodstream completely by themselves instead. Here is the exact molecular mechanism that makes this extraordinary process happen deep inside your muscle cells every time you move hard. When you drop down and power through a push-up, your muscles immediately burn through their available fuel supply at a rapid pace. That immediate fuel is called AP, and it powers absolutely every single muscular contraction your body makes during any physical activity whatsoever. As you push hard and your AP levels drop fast, something truly remarkable gets triggered deep inside the muscle cell itself immediately. A master energy sensor inside that muscle cell called AMP wakes up and begins reading the fuel situation with extreme and urgent intensity. Think of AMP exactly like the fuel gauge on your car dashboard, except this gauge is directly wired to a powerful alarm system. When AMP senses that energy is being burned down rapidly, it does not sit there calmly waiting for something to eventually happen. It sends out a powerful internal emergency signal that commands the GLUT4 transporters to rush immediately up to the cell surface now. Those doors fly wide open in direct response to that urgent command, and glucose floods powerfully into the muscle, getting exactly what it needs. This entire remarkable process happens completely without insulin being involved at any point or in any way during the whole sequence whatsoever. And here is the most critical thing you need to fully understand about this backdoor system inside your own living body today. It exists inside you right now, fully functional, fully available, simply waiting for you to activate it with the right kind of effort. This is exactly why a regular walk cannot accomplish the same thing, even though it does involve real muscle contractions and movement. Walking simply does not create enough intensity to wake AMP up powerfully enough to trigger the emergency glucose absorption response you need. A casual walk is like turning a dimmer switch just barely above zero. It nudges the system but produces almost no real signal. Intense bodyweight exercise is like slamming that same switch all the way to maximum power in one single decisive and committed motion. Walking lights a small flickering candle in a large dark room and barely changes anything meaningful about the environment around you at all. Push-ups and squats together light a roaring bonfire in that same room that changes absolutely everything about how your body responds immediately. So here is the exact practical trick you need to start using immediately after every single meal you eat from today forward. The moment you finish eating, do not go sit on the couch scrolling mindlessly through your phone the way most people do. Instead, get up immediately and do 2 to 3 sets of intense bodyweight movements right there on the spot wherever you are. You do not need a gym membership. You do not need equipment. You only need the body you are already living inside. Drop down and do push-ups until it genuinely feels hard. Then stand up and power through a full set of air squats. Step forward into walking lunges down your hallway because your legs contain the single biggest muscle group in your entire human body. Larger muscles absorb the most glucose most efficiently, which makes squats and lunges your absolute best and most powerful post-meal tools available. The single most important thing about these post-meal sets is that you must take them close to your personal muscular failure point. If 10 push-ups feels genuinely hard and challenging for you right now, then 10 push-ups is the exact perfect number to do. The difficulty of the effort is precisely what matters most, because difficulty is the specific signal that triggers the AMP alarm powerfully. Easy, comfortable movement produces a weak, meaningless signal, but hard, challenging movement produces the powerful emergency response your body urgently needs right now. This brief, intense effort transforms your muscles into a hungry glucose-absorbing sponge within just minutes of finishing your very last bite today. That sponge effect stays active and powerfully working anywhere from 15 full minutes to an entire hour after you complete your movement sets. Every glucose molecule floating in your bloodstream during that window gets pulled directly and forcefully into hungry muscle tissue instead of becoming fat. You are not just burning a small handful of extra calories the way a slow casual walk might burn them off gradually. You are completely redirecting the entire metabolic outcome of that meal in a way that compounds powerfully over weeks and months consistently. Now let us talk about making the insulin your body does release work as powerfully and cleanly and efficiently as it possibly can. Because even with the AMP backdoor working in your favor, your body still releases insulin after every single meal you sit down to eat. And if that insulin release is sluggish, poorly timed, or sputtering, your blood sugar management will still struggle significantly every single day. This is exactly where a mineral that almost nobody discusses in the health world becomes critically important for you to fully understand today. That mineral is calcium, and its role inside your body goes so far beyond simply keeping your bones dense and structurally strong. Insulin is not floating freely inside your pancreas, waiting to be casually released whenever your blood sugar rises after a meal today. It is stored carefully inside tiny protective bubbles called vesicles sitting deep within specialized cells in your pancreatic tissue right now. These vesicles do not release stored insulin randomly or automatically. They require one very specific and precise biological trigger to activate release. That trigger is calcium. And the process by which calcium fires that trigger works more like a precise electrical spark than anything else. A remarkable study published in the journal Cell Calcium used advanced live imaging to actually watch this process happening in real time. After you eat, glucose enters your pancreatic cells, and the energy level inside those specialized cells begins rising sharply and measurably upward. That energy rise creates a specific electrical change inside the cell membrane that functions precisely like a primed and ready electrical signal firing. That electrical signal throws open specialized ion channels designed to allow calcium, and only calcium, to rush powerfully inside the cell immediately. Calcium floods in rapidly through those open channels, and that sudden influx is the physical go signal the vesicles have been waiting for. The stored insulin does not slowly leak out in a trickle. When calcium finally arrives, it catapults out powerfully and floods the bloodstream. Think of this entire system like a spark plug inside a high-performance engine running on exactly the right premium quality gasoline available. You might have a completely full tank, meaning plenty of insulin stored and ready, but the engine still absolutely needs that precise spark. If your spark plug is corroded or too weak, the engine floods, misfires, and sputters constantly instead of running cleanly and powerfully. Weak calcium signaling creates exactly that same kind of sputtering and deeply inefficient insulin release pattern inside your pancreas every single day. But strong, clean, consistent calcium signaling means your insulin fires precisely, quickly, and efficiently every single time you sit down to eat something. And a consistently overworked, burned-out pancreas from poor signaling is the direct biological road that leads straight toward type 2 diabetes eventually. The answer to keeping your calcium signaling strong is far simpler than most people would ever expect or believe when they first hear it. You do not need to buy a single calcium supplement, because large calcium supplements actually create real problems inside your body when taken alone. Calcium and magnesium use the exact same absorption pathways in your gut, and taking both together means they completely cancel each other out. The smarter approach is getting your daily calcium through real whole foods and high-quality natural mineral water, consistently sipped throughout your day. Brands like San Pellegrino contain naturally occurring calcium in meaningful amounts that your body absorbs cleanly and uses immediately without any complications whatsoever. Before buying any mineral water, check the nutrition label specifically for calcium content listed in milligrams per serving on the back panel. Higher natural calcium content in the water means a stronger, cleaner, more reliable spark for your insulin signaling system every time you eat. You can also get excellent dietary calcium from whole food sources like kefir, cottage cheese, or plain drinkable yogurt easily throughout your day. If you are already taking magnesium, which you genuinely should be doing, save it specifically for the evening before you go to sleep. Dietary calcium through the day and magnesium supplementation at night is a simple timing split that matters far more than most people realize. Now, when you combine this calcium strategy with your post-meal bodyweight movement, you already have a genuinely powerful two-part metabolic system working daily. But the third piece of this system elevates absolutely everything to a completely different and far more powerful metabolic level entirely for you. Most health-conscious people today are genuinely and deeply afraid of carbohydrates in a way that has become completely disproportionate to actual reality. They have been told repeatedly that carbs are the enemy, avoid them, restrict them, and never eat them at night for fat loss. But the full truth about carbohydrates is far more nuanced, far more interesting, and honestly far more empowering than that blanket fear suggests. There is one specific and very narrow time window during your day when carbohydrates almost guarantee muscle growth instead of fat storage happening. During this unique window, carbs completely bypass the normal fat storage pathways your body would otherwise default to using without any hesitation at all. That specific window is during your actual workout itself, while your muscles are actively contracting and working hard under real physical load. When you are lifting weights or pushing through intense cardio, your muscles are contracting continuously and burning through ATP at a relentless pace. During this active workout window, your GLUT4 doors are not simply unlocked the way they are after your post-meal bodyweight movements at home. They have been completely ripped off their hinges by the sheer force of continuous intense muscular contraction happening throughout your entire training session. Any simple carbohydrates you consume during this specific window do not even have time to float around your bloodstream looking for somewhere useful to go. They get pulled immediately and directly into contracting muscle tissue and burned as raw instant fuel on the spot without any delay whatsoever. This is genuinely how you eat carbohydrates and have them actually build your physique instead of quietly working against your health goals daily. For any workout lasting longer than 60 minutes, add a small amount of fast-acting carbohydrate directly to your water bottle during training today. Cyclic dextrin powder works extremely well because it digests rapidly and absorbs cleanly without upsetting your stomach during hard, intense training efforts. Watermelon juice is another excellent, completely natural option that also delivers a beneficial amino acid called citrulline, along with its natural simple sugars. Citrulline increases nitric oxide production inside your blood vessels and improves blood flow, which enhances your endurance and the quality of your pump. A moderate amount sipped every 15 to 20 minutes throughout your training session is more than sufficient to fuel your actively working muscles properly. Long-term insulin resistance does not just affect how your muscles absorb glucose, it actually causes your mitochondria to gradually forget how to use glucose. When insulin signaling is constantly disrupted over months and years, your cells slowly lose their functional ability to process carbohydrates efficiently and cleanly. But when you consume carbohydrates specifically during your workout, your mitochondria gets to process glucose entirely on its own terms without any interference. With each consecutive workout session where this happens, your mitochondria gets measurably better, sharper, faster, and more efficient at handling glucose correctly. Over weeks and months of consistent training with intra-workout carbs, your cells start partitioning carbohydrates correctly even outside the workout window itself. You are literally retraining your cellular machinery at the most fundamental biological level to use carbohydrates properly through deliberate and consistent strategic timing. These three strategies working together are not random health tips assembled carelessly from a generic blog post or a basic fitness magazine article somewhere. They are grounded in cellular biology, peer-reviewed research, and real physiological mechanisms happening inside your living body, whether you currently know it or not. The bodyweight movement after every meal pulls glucose directly into hungry muscles before fat storage even gets a single chance to begin claiming it. The mineral water and dietary calcium ensure your insulin fires cleanly, precisely, and powerfully every single time you sit down to eat anything at all. The intra-workout carbohydrates retrain your cells at the mitochondrial level to handle glucose correctly and rebuild genuine metabolic flexibility from completely inside out. Together, these three daily habits attack insulin resistance from three completely different and simultaneously powerful biological angles all at once without creating any conflict whatsoever.